What the? You see it?
What are you seeing?
You didn't see it?
No, what was it?
All these places that have high strangeness, planes have disappeared, people have disappeared, but they also have Bigfoot that's associated with those.
Turned around and there was probably this 9-foot creature, and he was gray.
Suddenly, on Expedition Bigfoot, they found a huge, strange handprint in the mud. Something massive was out there. Just when their gadgets started buzzing, capturing proof that Bigfoot might be real, the team stumbled onto a gruesome sight. Bones and flesh scattered everywhere, a sign of a violent, scary creature. Deep in the dark forest, the air thick with fear, what did they find that was so horrifying it sent even tough explorers running for safety? Join us to expose what terrifying secrets the forest is hiding. The horrifying secrets of Bigfoot Island. The moment they made this discovery, the impact was immediate. Mara, excited by what they had found, quickly shared the news with Ronnie, who wasted no time in joining them on the island. When he saw the size of the handprint, he was just as amazed. But this wasn't the worst part. Nearby, they found knuckle prints that suggested the creature moved in a way that was a mix of human and ape. This discovery supported what Mara had noticed last year when she compared a Bigfoot skull to those of humans and apes, pointing out many similarities. These new findings backed up her earlier observations and suggested that this creature was more complex than they had thought. As Russ and his team ventured further into the remote wilderness, they noticed something surprising. Not just one set of tracks, but two. This meant that there were likely two different creatures moving through this hidden forest. With a new burst of energy, they ramped up their investigation, taking photos, measuring the tracks carefully, and studying each footprint closely. The team began to think that these creatures might be using the nearby river to find their way, possibly searching for food or shelter in the lush valley. This idea led them to focus their exploration in that area. With time running out and their supplies getting low, they knew they had to act quickly. They sent up drones with thermal cameras to scan the area from above, while team members on the ground carefully examined the riverbanks. As they carried out this plan, the tension in the air was palpable. Bryce took the lead on drone operations, coordinating both the ground and aerial teams through radio communication. Every sound from the forest seemed to heighten their excitement. They were no longer just observers, they were hunters, driven by both scientific curiosity and a deep desire to discover something new. Then one of the drones spotted something, a vaguely human-like shape moving among the trees. Their excitement surged. Could this be the encounter they had been waiting for, or were they just chasing shadows, pushing further into a search that might never yield answers? The forest holds its breath as the team dives deeper into the unknown, the quest for Bigfoot in the huge shadows. As they pressed on, the enormity of their task became clear. They were just a small team up against the vast, untamed wilderness, trying to uncover the secrets of creatures that might prefer to stay hidden. This journey brought up big questions about living alongside nature, protecting the environment, and the human need to explore the unknown. But as they continued their search for these elusive beings, they had to face a tough truth. Some mysteries, like the existence of Bigfoot, might want to remain unsolved, kept safe in the untouched depths of the forest. The drone flew above the valley while the ground teams followed the river, working together to explore the vast 20,000-acre valley. The valley was surrounded by towering mountains, some reaching up to 3,000 feet high. Every team member stayed focused, aware that they might encounter these mysterious creatures at any moment. The big question hanging over their mission was what they might discover. Could they finally prove Bigfoot's existence, or would they only end up with more questions? Their mission to explore the unknown came with its own set of challenges. They had to be careful not to disrupt the very things they were trying to study. As they moved forward, they had to think about not just the scientific and environmental impact of their search, but also the moral implications. This journey was about more than just finding evidence. It was about understanding how human curiosity interacts with the hidden parts of nature. Just as they were getting closer to their goal, a sudden noise in the dense forest caught their attention, pointing them towards something even more elusive. As night fell, the drone spotted something directing the team to a new area to explore. Ronnie, Mara, and Russ were walking by the river while Bryce and his team controlled the drone from above the thick forest canopy. The drone's heat-sensing camera detected movement several miles away where Mara and Russ were. Bryce quickly told Mara what they saw, suggesting that Bigfoot might be heading toward the glacier. With this new information, meanwhile, on the other side of the valley, Ronnie was making his way through a thickly wooded area. The night was completely dark, with only the sounds of the wilderness and occasional calls of wildlife breaking the silence. As he moved quietly, the thrill of the unknown pushed him forward, each step bringing him closer to a potential discovery. But what if they were wrong? What if they were just chasing shadows? As Ronnie carefully stepped through the dark woods, the sound of twigs snapping and leaves crunching underfoot reminded him just how little light there was. Bryce was on his way to help, guiding a drone toward Ronnie's location. The drone's advanced camera could see through the darkness, using thermal imaging to detect heat patterns in the area, hinting that something alive might be nearby. At first, the images were blurry, but as the drone got closer, they became clearer, showing movements that grabbed everyone's attention. These heat patterns revealed something moving quickly, suggesting that whatever they were tracking was not just there, but also very quick. The drone tried to get a better look, but suddenly the trail it was following disappeared, making Ronnie even more determined to push deeper into the thick forest. He was driven by the hope of coming face to face with this mysterious creature. Understanding the need for closer observation, Bryce decided he had to join Ronnie on foot. With new clues underfoot, dawn breaks on the next leg of their adventure. A clue-filled quest in the wild. As Ronnie kept following the sounds, he came across large footprints clearly marking where a big creature had recently passed. The ground around him showed signs of the creature's strength, with broken branches scattered everywhere. The wide spacing of the footprints suggested it had an unusually long stride. Holding a portable thermal camera, Ronnie scanned the area, hoping the creature was still nearby, but this wasn't the biggest challenge yet. The thick underbrush was tough to navigate, with dense branches and leaves not only blocking his view, but also messing with the thermal readings. Still, Ronnie didn't give up, eager to catch a glimpse of the creature. His heart raced when he saw a figure moving towards him through the trees. For a split second, Ronnie thought he had finally found Bigfoot, but it was Bryce, arriving just in time to help him out. Ronnie and Bryce talked about what they had seen and decided to follow a trail they thought Bigfoot might have taken. Excited about the chance to spot the creature, they pressed on eagerly. Their path, lit only by flashlights, took them through rough terrain until they reached a more well-worn trail near a glacier. As they moved forward, they stumbled upon a shocking scene. A freshly eliminated animal, its bright red blood staining the white snow. Even though they knew they were in a predator's territory, Ronnie and Bryce stayed calm. They looked closely at the area and figured out that the animal was probably an elk or a Sitka black-tailed deer. They noticed a broken rib bone, which led them to talk about the force needed to break it and why that might have happened. This discovery made them think about studies that suggested ancient humans broke bones to get to the marrow, a key nutrient for brain development during the Stone Age. This made them wonder if they were tracking more than just an animal, perhaps a creature with behaviors similar to early humans. Their theory was backed up by earlier finds of volcanic glass tools in nearby caves, likely used by these creatures to cut meat, just like early humans did. This realization deepened their understanding of the complex nature of their mission. But this wasn't the most startling part. As they came across fresh tracks and another unsettling scene, they were drawn even deeper into the forest, becoming more invested in their investigation. They realized they weren't just chasing a mythical beast. They were following a creature that seemed to blur the line between animal instincts and human-like intelligence. This mix of traits not only expanded their search, but also gave them new insights into the possible connections between these elusive beings and early human ancestors, perhaps even shedding light on our own history. When Ronnie, Bryce, Mara, and Russ arrived at a new site, they were shocked by the chaos. It didn't look like a typical animal attack. Bones and blood were scattered everywhere, hinting that a creature much bigger and more dangerous than a wolf, bear, or large cat was involved. They decided to collect some bones for further study, hoping to figure out what had caused such destruction. But this was just a piece of the puzzle. Understanding the behavior of such powerful predators different from usual animals was crucial. People in the area and fresh clues suggested the creature might be Bigfoot, drawn to the spot by plentiful food and good hiding places. Chilled by the night, they press on, hoping the ice holds more than just cold. The strange tracks of a hidden predator. Determined to learn more, while Ronnie and Bryce stayed behind to take a closer look at the attack site. They noticed that key parts of the prey were missing and there were no signs of it being dragged away. This suggested the creature had picked up and carried off its prey, a behavior typical of smart, large animals. Recent thermal images that seemed to capture this creature only strengthened their belief that they were part of a larger, unfolding story deeply connected to the wild's natural history and survival. Bryce and Ronnie decided it was time to search more carefully for any clues they might have missed. Their search took an unexpected turn when they heard noises nearby. Filled with a mix of fear and excitement, they quickly grabbed their thermal camera to scan the area. But no matter how hard they looked, they couldn't find anything. The creature remained hidden. Even so, they pushed forward, hoping to find something that would reveal more about the creature's behavior and where it might be hiding. As the first light of dawn began to brighten the forest, both Ronnie and Bryce felt tired but knew that the daylight might reveal what the darkness had kept hidden. Meanwhile, Mara and Russ were also feeling worn out. They had been tracking the creature all night with barely any rest. Their dedication was impressive, but the creature kept outsmarting them. Fresh snow that should have shown footprints was strangely undisturbed, adding to their frustration. Just when they were starting to lose hope, their cameraman noticed something move along the ice ridge. He quickly told Russ, who caught a brief glimpse of something or someone that disappeared just as quickly. This short sighting of what seemed like a human figure was an important clue. Russ deeper into the cold wilderness. Crossing a glacier filled with gaps and generally unforgiving terrain was no easy task. But this harsh environment was the perfect place for a creature wanting to stay hidden from people. While Russ and Mara pressed on, Bryce and Ronnie stayed behind at their original spot. Their patience paid off when they discovered an unusually high claw mark on a tree, clearly different from the common bear scratches they had seen before. On the other side of the glacier, Mara had finally finished their climb. They were eager to close the distance between themselves and the creature. The glacier's extreme conditions made it a tough place for any living thing. Only something with thick, warm fur could survive here, while people had to battle the bitter cold. The icy landscape until Mara noticed an ice cave. Finding this cave felt like a major breakthrough. If it turned out to be Bigfoot's hiding place, it would be a huge discovery. With this new lead, the team moved closer to what they hoped was the creature's home, pushing through the challenging terrain. But this wasn't the end of their challenges. As Mara and Russ got closer to the ice cave, they realized why this spot was perfect for hiding and escaping. The nearby flowing water could easily provide the creature with the essentials for survival. Convinced more than ever that this could be Bigfoot's home, Russ started a thorough search around the cave for any signs of the creature. They felt they were on the verge of a big discovery and were determined to check every possible hiding place. High above, the team scans the horizon, eager for signs of the elusive creature. A helicopter hunt in the Alaskan wilderness. The challenge ahead was intimidating. The endless mountains stretched far and wide, making it impossible to cover on foot. After realizing the ground search wasn't working, the team decided to use a helicopter, hoping to spot the creatures before they vanished into the thick forest. Their producer arranged for a helicopter from a company in Juneau, knowing it was the only practical way to explore such a vast area. Walking just wouldn't have worked. It would have taken too long and wouldn't have been effective. Once in the air, they looked down, scanning the snowy landscape below. The bright white snow made it easier to notice even the slightest movements. Every team member was on high alert, aware that their time was limited. The helicopter followed a route from the glacier to the forest's edge, with everyone keeping their eyes on the ground, trying to spot any sign of life. But despite their careful watch and clear view, nothing moved. After hours of searching and circling, the day ended with no results. Frustration began to grow. They made another pass, going over the area one more time, but still no signs of life. It seemed the creatures were either incredibly good at staying hidden or had already moved deep into the forest out of sight. The team felt a deep sense of disappointment. They had been so close to discovering something amazing, only for it to slip away. But this wasn't the worst part. The real blow was the feeling that they might have missed their chance. Even so, they didn't let the setback completely defeat them. The experience taught them valuable lessons they would use in their next attempt. 3 weeks later, back home, while most of the team had moved on, Bryce was still deeply focused on the mission. Ronnie and Mara had left behind special microphones in the forest designed to pick up even the faintest sounds. These microphones were much better than regular ones, able to catch the tiniest noises. Bryce carefully went through the audio recordings, initially hearing nothing unusual, just the normal sounds of the forest like bird calls and rustling leaves. But then something different caught his ear. Among the typical forest sounds, a low, unclear noise appeared. At first, it just seemed like more rustling, but then it became obvious. A deep, resonant voice came through, something no one had expected to find. But this wasn't the most surprising part. The sound clip might actually be a recording of Bigfoot. Bryce worked hard to make the audio clearer and dug deeper into it. The recording was made at night when the team was deep in the forest. Since they didn't see anyone else around that night, the strange voice could have come from Bigfoot. Bryce was both confused and excited by this discovery. He went through a lot of effort to reach Dr. Ronald Cosper, a linguist known for his expertise in rare and complex languages. Dr. Cosper had previously claimed to have deciphered phrases from Bigfoot using ancient stories, so he was the perfect person to help figure out the sound. Bryce eagerly discussed the recordings with him, hoping to uncover something amazing. Dr. Cosper thought the voices sounded human or almost human. This made Bryce even more eager to understand what the words meant. Dr. Cosper recognized some words like waves, flat, and kumba. They considered how factors like distance, background noise, and air pressure might have changed the sounds, but the clues still suggested these could be messages from Bigfoot. Dr. Cosper also noticed that the recording seemed to have two different voices. One voice said kumba, while the other said flat and wave. This made Bryce worry that there might be more than one creature out there. He shared more findings from that night with Dr. Cosper, which hinted that there could be several creatures involved. What do you think? Could these creatures be coordinating their actions? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.